This is Bobby C, and we begin our look at this week's sports out at the Big Ballpark in the Bronx, where the New York Yankees pay tribute to the 20th anniversary of the 1996 New York Yankees, the birth of the most recent dynasty. We got a chance to catch up with some of the greatest Yankees from that 96 team, including a closer in waiting, Mariano Rivera.
Having young Wetland with me that year was spectacular because I learned everything from him. Most of it was from him, you know. So, I mean, to me, 96 was just the beginning of a good career.
Hard to believe, but Bernie Williams in 1996 might have been an elder statesman with some of the young players on that squad. He would go on to have a huge American League Championship Series against the Baltimore Orioles.
The 96 team was, I guess, sort of brought us back to that sort of atmosphere of, these are the Yankees. This is a team that's supposed to be on top in our minds, of course. And he just set the precedent to the rest of the teams that came after that.
It was also the first full season in the bigs for a guy named Derek Jeter, the future captain of the Yankees. He, of course, the 1996 American League Rookie of the Year.
That was the beginning. The Yankees hadn't won in a long time. And, you remember the excitement in the stadium. You remember the excitement in the city, walking the streets and people recognizing us.
Mo, of course, was the closer in waiting to World Series MVP John Wetland, and you could say that Jorge Posada was the catcher in waiting to now Yankee manager Joe Girardi, who, of course, had that huge triple in Game 6 as the Yankees would go on to win their first World Series since 1978.
It's just a lot of good memories when you sit down on the bench and you're looking around and you see the guys going after it. So it was a lot of fun to see, the guys being back and, people you don't see.
And the core four would not be complete without the addition of Andy Pettitte, baseball's all-time winningest pitcher in the postseason, who really got rolling in 1996. Fans will never forget that matchup against John Smoltz in the World Series.
It was a special time, and obviously it was the start of an amazing run for us. And it was great for me as far as from the pitching side to be able to see some of the guys work and see how they went about their business. Jimmy Key, David Cohn, and some of the guys in the bullpen. It was fun for me to be able to watch as a young player, that's for sure.
I'm pretty sure most Yankee fans would agree 1996 was a magical year for the Bronx Bombers, and plenty of fans around baseball, even non-Yankee fans, couldn't help but cheer for Joe Torre, deemed Clueless Joe by the tabloids when he was hired by George Steinbrenner, and that group of veterans and rising stars like the Core Four. 20 years later, it's hard not to miss that group. Last weekend out at the Big Ballpark in the Bronx was special and memorable all the way around. It was like the Yankees were trying to send a message with their youth movement, calling up rookies Tyler Austin and Aaron Judge on an afternoon when the Bombers were reminiscing about the birth of their latest dynasty. We go back inside the locker room for more.
I don't think I could have asked for anything better. I mean, especially with us coming out on top with a win today, I think that was pretty awesome.
It's exciting, when Tyler went up there and got down 0-2 really quick, but he battled and had a great at-bat and was able to hit one out. Man, I was ecstatic on deck, I was like, oh man, I just got to make contact now. So, what a day. That's all I can really say.
There's a ton of great players in our minor league system from top to bottom, and it's fun to know that there's a lot of guys coming up that could possibly help this team in some way in the future. So it's exciting.
Chills. That was unreal. Austin and Judge became the first pair of teammates in baseball history to hit consecutive home runs in their first plate appearances. Sometimes I think the Yankees script these things. To conclude the weekend, the Yankees paid homage to the greatest closer of all time on Sunday, placing number 42 in Monument Park one more time. Here's the great Mariano Rivera, who told BronxNet in the post-game press conference that it's not easy throwing out the first pitch in dress clothes.
It's amazing. It's amazing because, if you're talking about the people that are there in Monument Park, especially starting with Babe Ruth, you have the Mickey, you have Mr. Joe DiMaggio, you have my favorite, Yogi Berra, and the list is going on. And me, a humble guy from Puerto Carmito, Panama, and being on that in that group of men, it means a lot, but I consider myself a blessed man that have the opportunity to play this game and being able, like I said, participate with great players like my teammates were, and players that I play against. I have the blessing to have people that really take care of me. I mentioned, and basically that was the only person that I mentioned, because he always had me ready for the game. That was Jim Monahan. So when you're talking about Monument Park, it's a blessing for me. It's a prestige, and I feel proud of it.
Mariano, during the ceremonial first pitch, was it tough to throw a cutter in a dress shirt?
Yes, definitely was. Especially the hit is okay. The hit actually is good, but throwing it in this kind of shirt, and if I got a good shoes, it would be much better. Spikes, but no, it was good. It was good to. It feels always when you have opportunity to be in the mound, it's something that has no price. Thank you.
Congrats to Mo. Back on the diamond, the Yanks lost 2 out of 3 to Toronto to kickstart the week. After Thursday's off day, the Bombers hit the road for the West Coast swing, which opens tonight in Anaheim. The Amazons just can't seem to stay amazing night in and night out like the Yankees. The Mets have been up and down. Thursday night in San Francisco was the down. In a matchup of aces, Madison Bumgarner got the best of Jacob deGrom as the Giants won 10-7. The Mets are in San Francisco this weekend for 3 more games. That series will be followed by the off day Monday, and then a series in St. Louis starting Tuesday. The Mets at the very least will welcome back Yoenis Cespedes and Asdrubal Cabrera. How about a shout to Bronx native and Mets up-and-comer TJ Rivera, recently featured right here on BronxNet. TJ has been great for the Mets. In 9 games since being called up last weekend, Rivera is 11 for 31, good for a .355 batting average with 3 RBIs. He had a 4-hit performance Tuesday night that helped the Mets topple the Arizona Diamondbacks. On the gridiron, the New York Jets will be in Washington tonight for a preseason football game with the Redskins. That game kicks at 7:30 p.m. and can be seen on CBS 2 here in New York. That could be a big game for reserve quarterback Bryce Petty. The Jets are currently carrying 4 QBs, but the second-year signal caller could be someone that the organization decides to pass up with rookie Christian Hackenberg in camp. Hackenberg may make his debut tonight, according to reports. Actor and comedian Larry David made an appearance at Jets camp this week. He recently joked that he would be the perfect offensive coordinator for Gang Green. In Giants camp, Big Blue will be in Buffalo Saturday at 4 p.m. to face the Bills in preseason action. That game will be televised on Channel 9. Giants wide receiver Victor Cruz called out his doubters this week and said he's going to come back strong in the season despite some injuries and a slow start to the preseason. The G-men have taken it easy on Cruz. Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports. U.S. swimmer Ryan Lochte and 3 teammates weren't the victims of crime after all in Rio. Brazilian officials said Thursday and said they concocted an elaborate robbery story to cover up an embarrassing incident at a gas station. Ooh. On to better Olympic news. Jamaica's Usain Bolt breezed to the 200-meter gold and his 8th gold for his career. That could have been his last individual race. Bolt turns 30 this Sunday, and it sure looks like the only thing that can slow him is time, not another competitor. The U.S. women's basketball team will face Spain for the gold medal Saturday night. Congrats to Brittany Griner and company on a very nice Olympic run thus far. Hopefully they follow through and bring home the gold. The U.S. leads the medal count by a large margin. We have 100 total medals, including 35 of the gold variety. Knicks point guard Derrick Rose said this week that he stands by his comments about the orange and blue being a super team this season. NFL great Darren Sharper, finally sorry for his actions, was sentenced to 18 years in prison for drugging and raping women in 4 different states. Giants kicker Josh Brown has been suspended for 1 game, the opener, for violating the NFL's conduct policy. News emerged today that Brown has been violent with his wife over 20 times. It remains to be seen whether or not the G-men will be keeping Brown around. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for the Yankees. Goodbye to Alex Rodriguez.
First of all, I just looked around, and it was a packed house. With all that I've been through, and for them to show up on a night like tonight and show me that type of love is something that I'll never forget. It was overwhelming.
I know how much he loves putting on that uniform. I know how much he loves competing. I know how much he loves to play the game. And that's probably why this week was so tough for me. Because that's what I want in a player. And me and Alex have been through a lot together, and I have really strong feelings for him. And this has been extremely hard.
This week was incredibly awkward and tough, and I was disappointed, like I said before the game. But we are a family, and family sometimes disagrees. So in the long term, Joe and I are going to be just fine. You know, it's the only job I've had for 22 years, and I've been going at it since I was 15 years old, pretty hard. With all the things that I've been through, Joe, and to have an ending like tonight, I don't know what else a man can ask for. So I'm extremely thankful for everything the Steinbrenners, especially what the fans did for me tonight. I guess we went out with a bang.
Last Friday night was wild. First, it was the storm of biblical proportion, as A-Rod noted, and then Alex coming through with a clutch double and a Yankee win. It wasn't the home run I called last week on the show, but it was vintage A-Rod, and more importantly, it sure sounds like A-Rod is at peace, even 4 homers shy of the milestone 700. His camp said this week that he would not be signing anywhere else this season, and I really believe Alex will walk away a Yankee. He knows there's nothing better than that. And if he stays this course, he may actually win the writers over when it comes to Cooperstown. One thing is for sure, Alex has always been a lightning rod, and his final game was no different. That's your look at sports. I'm Bobby C.